Blessed day to all of you. Welcome to the program agenda, and thank you for being subscribers of Signal TV, viewers of One News PH on channels 8 and 250, and of course, thank you to PLDT for their home fiber optic internet. Welcome to the program. It's May 30, 2022. It's a Monday, and today we are going to be covering very important concerns. If you are a member of the SSS, we will be speaking to Senator Francis Tolentino, who revealed last week, or at least that's what is coming out. He revealed that the SSS may have some problems. What sort of problems? They seem to have lost money in 2021, and he is concerned as to what adjustments needs to be done. He will also enlighten us as to why his position is that the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, that the Philippine government wants to join in the ASEAN should be deferred and be left to the BBM administration for ratification, for review. He will also be sharing with us regarding his campaign to prevent the online sabong from using PayMaya and GCash and similar facilities. And of course, we will have to ask him regarding the Senate presidential campaign in the Senate. Okay. And then after all that, we will be speaking to my fellow columnist in the Philippine Star, Rose Fausto, and we will be asking her regarding financial literacy, because that is a continuing concern. And many Filipinos are wondering, is it too late for me to educate themselves regarding financial literacy? What are the practical steps? And also for their children. So join us today. And before all of that, let's go to our daily starter from Brian Tracy. Integrity is the most valuable and respected quality of leadership. Always keep your word. So if you are a leader, a boss, a parent, a husband, mother, whatever you are, if you consider yourself a leader, or if you are leading a team or someone or your community, always remember that when you keep your word, ano ba yung pangako mo, promise mo, or commitment, keep your word, because that is a reflection of your integrity. Because if your word is not your bond, then laway ka lang. Okay, now let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star for a quick review of the news this 30th day of May. And the front page headline, Senate presidency jockeying delays Magic 13 formation. The getting together of the new candidates or re-elected candidates of the Senate cannot seem to get together. Para silang top gun, as in G-O-N-E. Hindi sila makaporma because naglalaban-laban for who will become the Senate president. Now remember, some are really qualified to be the Senate president. Others are positioning themselves not for Senate president, but for committee chairmanship. Ganun lang po talaga ang buhay. Pormahan at bigayan. Meanwhile, at the top of the front page, time to move on from COVID, alert levels, presidential advisor on entrepreneurship, Joey Concepcion, has stated that we should now move forward, concentrate on the economic recovery, on business, etc., and try to define what protocols, health protocols need to remain and move on na. Kasi ito raw pong mga alert levels 1, 2, and 3 well, generally it's alert level 1, is getting in the way of things because some people don't know how to read or don't know how, or intentionally misreads the guidelines of the alert level. Okay, that big, wonderful photo of the Cultural Center of the Philippines facade is a photo that is displaying the colors and symbols of the national flag as we observe Flag Week, actually Flag Weeks. They will be showing that display for the next 2 weeks until the Independence Day comes on June 12. That other photo is of a gentleman using a fogging machine for anti-dengue activities. Please be aware. There is now a rise in cases of dengue. So mag-ingat po kayo at maglinis. Clean up your backyards and your gutters and your plant pots. Okay, lalo na yung mga plantito, plantita. Meanwhile, Malacanang says Philippines in good hands with BBM economic team. According to them, the team is well qualified and there should be no problems. Senate panel to probe 2022 poll issues according to Senator Amy Marcos. That photo in the lower middle of the Philippine Star is a photo, hindi po yan rallyista, mga turista na gustong pumunta sa Manila Zoo. Pumipila, meron pang peace sign, or ewan ko kung peace sign yun o triple sign, whatever. Pero pila na, there are people now really lining up, wanting to go places, and Manila Zoo is one of them. NEDA pushes for RCEP approval or the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, and that is one of the issues that Senator Francis Tolentino is going to tackle today. U.S. vows to uphold Philippine maritime rights. Caritas backs deferment of barangay and SK polls. Now, I just want to mention that thing about the Caritas. They are essentially saying that the barangay and SK polls are electoral processes, democratic activities that should not be interfered with. Okay. Fully vaxxed Pinoys hit 70 million. And last but not the least, Rodi packing up for return to Davao. All his bags are packed and he's ready to go. Okay, 1 month to go and he's going back to his tumba-tumba in Davao to relax. Okay, and those are the news on the front page of the Philippine Star. Let's now go to our first interview. Senator Francis Tolentino. Good morning, Mr. Senator. Oops, wala audio, sir. Baka nakamute ka.
Good morning, sir. Good morning din po sa ating mga taga-subaybay. Sorry.
Okay, welcome back. And Senator, marami tayong pag-uusapan, so medyo fast break tayo today. Number one of big concern to many was the news item that involved your revelation that the Social Security system may have financial problems. Could you elaborate on that, Mr. Senator?
Apparently, it came out that 843.9 billion was shown in the unaudited financial statement of SSS as a loss. So it is alarming, but they have some explanations. One, they attributed some losses to the COVID pandemic years. Ang hirap ng collection nun. Number two, and I think this can be fully explained, they shifted to a different type of financial reporting. Simplify ko, I'm not trying to be an expert here. Ang sinasabi po nila, yung contribution dati ng isang miyembro ng SSS, we have 40.9 million Filipinos who are members. Yung contribution dati, once you contribute, that is recorded as an income. Yung sa mga nakaraang panahon. But starting 2020, nagbago sila ng financial methodology sa libro nila. Pag nag-contribute ka, hindi income yon, that will be separated to answer for future liabilities on the part of the Social Security system. Yung mga nag-retire, yung may mga maternity benefits, yung mga pension, etc. So, nabago po yung equation. Yung dati for the last 15 years na malaki yung kinikita nilang income, naging liabilities ngayon. But having said that, sa palagay ko po, kailangan din maipaliwanag ng SSS bakit sa last 15 years, hindi kagad sila nag-shift doon sa ganong bookkeeping methodology. Ang tawag po doon, PFRS 4, yung Philippine Financial Reporting Standard 4. Mas marami makapag-explain po nito. At ang layunin po natin ngayon, hindi po, we are not attributing graft here. Ang layunin po natin ngayon is to ensure that the 40+ million Filipinos who are members are assured that what they are contributing right now, contributed before, will contribute in the future, will be safe, and that they will be able to get their law provided for benefits. So yun po yung gusto naming malaman dito, at kung paano po maibabalik yung tamang confidence sa social security system. So the president of SSS was quoted that this is just a cash flow statement issue, pero again, I'm not an expert, but when you talk about cash flow, you talk about operating activities, you talk about financial activities, you talk about investment activities. So yun po yung hihimayin namin pag nagkaroon po ng hearing dito. Saan ba kayo nag-invest? Ito ba yung nakaka-contribute sa mga miyembro nyo? Ano ba yung finance ninyo? Ano pa ho ba yung accounts payable ninyo? At nakakasigurado pa yung mga miyembro ng SSS ay makakatanggap ng benepisyo.
Senator, what will happen? Ano mangyayari? Because you have a new administration coming in. Although, of course, I'm familiar with the SSS. My mother spent decades serving and working at the SSS. So marami silang mga professional career employees. But, you know, a lot of things are decided by board members. And you're going to now transition to a new administration, a new government, so therefore new board members. Pati ba yung assignment of board members mababantayan ng Senado or ng legislative body as a check and balance? Because yung sinabi mo, where the money is placed, if you remember, ilang beses na rin nangyari that the SSS got into controversy or hot waters because money was placed in certain investment houses na medyo nangamote.
Siguro po, as we move forward, pagharap nung yung sino man yung bagong Secretary of Finance who's going to head the cluster team, mapapag-usapan po yan. And because precisely any investigation would be in aid of legislation, we might as well take a look at Republic Act 11199, yung Social Security Act of 2018. Is there a need for refinement? Is there a need for an upgrade given the new digital technology we have today? So dapat po siguro, although current pa lang itong 2018 Social Security Act, perhaps there is a need to improve this, especially in the aspect of OFW membership. We have just created a new department, the Department of Migrant Workers. So ano magiging role ng mga OFW? Paano ma-upgrade yung kanilang contribution? Paano matutulungan yung kanilang membership dito sa social security system? So a lot of other things. Pero again, I'm not trying to portray myself as an accountant or finance expert here. Kailangan lang siguro malaman ano talaga yung financial health ng social security system.
Well, I don't think that you've always been pabida. No, you're not the one who likes to be in the limelight. And what you're doing is important to us. I'm a member of the SSS. I'm hoping to be able to collect kahit paano may makuwang konti from my SSS contributions. But the thing is, speaking of this investigation, or well, sabi mo na inquiry na lang, hindi na investigation, are there red flags or things of concern other than that was reported and explained by the administrator? Meron pa ba kayong of interest or concern that members should watch out for?
Siguro po dun sa aspect na yung voluntary paying members, what's the status of their collection? How are the funds being managed? I've already mentioned the overseas Filipino workers. So holistically, this has to be approached in such a way that we not just safeguard the funds, we assure the members of SSS that their funds are protected, and we ensure that whatever investments, it came from you, being done by SSS on other matters authorized by the board, are done for purposes of protecting the funds and the membership of SSS.
Okay, so sana madamay mo na rin dyan yung mga whether or what is the SSS doing to act on companies or sectors that are really notorious for non-payment, like yung mga security agency. Miyat-miya na lang nagsusumbong yan sa inyo at sa amin na yung kanilang SSS ay hindi man lang nababayaran. So, okay.
Sir, we recognize the past 2 years talagang bumagsak po yung premium contribution because of the lockdown, because of the pandemic, and a lot of small businesses closed. So this probably can be attributed to as a portion of the losses reflected in the books of the Social Security system. And anyway, when this is open for inquiry, we will see how stable and how healthy SSS is.
Okay, now moving on, Senator, let's talk about the regional comprehensive economic partnership. Medyo naging controversial ito kasi parang ayaw pag-usapan in public. We were trying to dig up information. What is this regional comprehensive economic partnership? Why is it that one half of the neighborhood wants it and the other half of the neighborhood is against it? And I think you yourself have said, iwan na yan sa BBM administration to decide membership on. Could you explain this to us? What's important about the RCEP and why you want it deferred?
I am not totally against RCEP.
Okay.
This is part of the more than 100 regional trade treaties existing globally. You have NAFTA, you have the treaties with Australia and New Zealand, among others. I'm not against it. In fact, I participated fully, lengthily in all Senate deliberations from the committee to the plenary. Nabanggit lang ni President-elect Bongbong Marcos that it's time perhaps to defer the approval imprimatur of the Senate because of matters concerning agriculture. So kaya nasabi ko, pagbigyan natin yung incoming administration, nabuksan din yung kung ano yung kanilang pananaw para makatulong sa ating mga magsasaka. But I'm not totally against RCEP. But there are some legal matters which has not yet been answered forthrightly by the DFA and DTI when I asked them. Bigyan ko ito ng tatlong halimbawa, Cito. I was able to ask this. The Philippines is not a signatory to the Convention on the International Sale of Goods. That was way back decades ago. The Philippines is not a member, a signatory of the Choice of Court Convention. Hindi tayo miyembro. Hindi ko alam kung bakit. Hindi pa ako miyembro ng Senado noon. Decades ago. The Philippines is not a member of a recent convention on electronic sale of goods. What I'm saying is this. Before we can fully participate in RCEP or any international treaty or convention that would require us to participate as a sovereign state, kailangan po miyembro tayo ng tatlong yon. These are foundational treaties. Before you become grade 6, you should have entered and passed grade 3 and grade 2. So ito yung mga requirements. Kaya tinanong ko sa plenary, bakit hindi tayo miyembro ng Convention on International Sale of Goods? Hindi pa raw naaprubahan. Nauna pa yung RCEP. Ano ho laman ng Convention on International Sale of Goods? Sa international sale of goods, you don't need a written contract. If you're an importer, exporter, trading with the Japanese counterpart, hindi mo kailangan ng contract dun sa CISG convention. So paano na ngayon ang Pilipinas? Kung nag-trade tayo sa isang Japanese counterpart, sila, they're a member of CISG, tayo hindi. Baka dihado tayo. Ang gusto ko lang mangyari, patas yung trato sa Pilipinas, bago tayo sumali sa RCEP. But RCEP is good. Ang nangyari lang, may mga foundational treaties na hindi ko alam, ba't hindi tayo kasali? So yun ang tinanong ko. So hindi masagot ng DFA, hindi masagot ng DTI kung bakit nagkaganon. So ulitin ko, I'm not totally averse to RCEP. RCEP is good, pero dapat miyembro tayo ng foundational treaties. Si Presidente BBM, ang sinasabi niya, i-defer muna siguro para mapag-aralan yung agricultural implications, which is correct. So kaya nabanggit ko na i-defer muna natin. Sumangayon naman natin si Senate President Soto, dahil ilang araw na lang kami, ipasa na doon sa next administration, sila na yung humukay, sila na yung magbigay ng kanilang inputs para doon sa ating mga magsasaka.
Okay, and it's not, yung ba ay isang bagay na if we don't do it quickly enough, we'll miss the train or miss the boat. Kasi parang, I'm kind of wondering why there seems to be a slight rush. Hindi naman minamadali.
There should have been a deadline. First quarter of the year, early first quarter of the year. Kaya nahuli lang tayo. May deadline talaga. Halos lahat nakasakay na doon sa barko. Tayo lang ang hindi pa nakakasakay. Pero yung sinasabi ko, bago tayo sumakay sa barko, dapat meron tayong salbabida, meron tayong kagamitan, hindi basta tayo sasakay, which we don't have right now.
Okay, now what about the fear that if we are a signatory to the RCEP and given what you've mentioned, that we will be an agricultural dumping ground or a dumping ground of agricultural products of the region?
Hindi naman po siguro eh. Kaya yung sinasabi ni President-elect Ferdinand Marcos Jr., let us study this again. And I'm not speaking on his behalf. Siguro para naman doon sa kapakanan ng ating magsasakay, gaya ng nabanggit mo. So, bigyan lang ng konting panahon, we will be a member. We should be a member. We cannot isolate ourselves, but we should be a member on equal footing or standing.
Okay, now third topic, medyo alam ko ito is a medal on your chest. Ika nga nila, nagwagi ka, you have been pushing for the Bangko Sentral of the Philippines to disallow, for the BSP to disallow the electronic payment systems, mga GCash, Paymaya, from accepting bets on isabong or similar activities. Now, could you update on us? Kasi mukhang nagkaroon kayo ng exchange of communication ni Governor Ben Jokno and you seem to have won your campaign.
Hindi naman po tayo lang yan. Katulong po natin ang buong Senado. Kasama rin si Senator De La Rosa, ang Senate President. So, hindi lang po si Francis Tolentino yan. You're correct. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas already issued a memorandum circular requiring GCash and Paymaya to stop within 30 days upon receipt. So to download whatever is now contained in existing e-wallets relative to isabong. So with that, it is a confirmation that the decision of the Bangko Sentral Board before was just anchored on the Department of Justice opinion, which was impliedly revoked or expressly revoked by the decision of the President stopping PAGCOR. So dahil po doon, nahintunahan lahat yun. At hindi naman po ako lahat yun. Kasama rin po kayo, Sir Chitos, at ang media, at ang Senado. At pasalamat po tayo kay Governor Benjamin Jokno for upholding the values of the Filipinos. That we should not just rely on gambling. We should rely on hard work and the proper work ethic to move as a nation.
Okay, now having said all of that, very interesting yung point mo, Senator Tolentino, that everything was implied. there was really nothing on paper that actually says, okay, online sabong is legal. There was nothing on paper that says that the PAGCOR had a foot to stand on. Puro, in fact, I think the OJ and the Solicitor General, if I'm not mistaken, parang, well, in our opinion. Now, what is to stop us from having the same situation all over again, the same social nightmare all over again? What are you planning to do as a legislator? Kayo nila Senator Bato de la Rosa, you're correct. He also did a lot of work on that, and Senate President Tito Soto. What can be done to make sure that it never happens again? I mean, you know, yung bang someone or some groups can make billions of pesos on an opinion.
Well, tama po kayo, but we are gladdened by the fact that we have statements coming from the President-elect that he will not tolerate this. But on our part, I think it should now be proper that we file the appropriate legislation. A lot of things are happening in the digital economy. It's not just your online sabong. There might be variations of this. Baka may maka-invento na naman ng iba. Pero itong online sabong kasi, it ballooned, it blossomed during the pandemic days, the lockdown days. So, palagay ko naman, patapos na tayo sa lockdown. So, I will try to put in place, file a bill relative to the regulation of the digital economy. So, I will probably, medyo mahirap-hirap, draft the Philippine Digital Economy Act of 2022. Whatever permutation it may lead to, it has to be a law that would encompass the evolving digital economy. And that will include not just your online sabong, internet gaming, but even cryptocurrency, which is hard to police and regulate right now. So give me some time, Sir Cito, siguro mag-aaral-aral pa ako niyan. But that's my mindset now. Papunta po doon.
Well, we ask all our viewers to pray for you, for God to give you wisdom on that subject matter, because our lives have changed, our world has changed, and it's people like you who are listening that can make the difference. At malaking bagay na may mga lumabas na batas, that laws come out to address the imperfections. I mean, as you pointed out, you are not against RCEP, but there are imperfections. The same thing with whatever the state manifests as gambling. We must always protect and preserve our values and our children. Now, last but not the least, I don't want to put you in a situation, pero napapag-usapan na itong Senate presidency. Saan ba kami pupusta, sir?
Alam nyo, ilang araw na lang siguro ito. July 25 will be the opening of the Senate. We will have a Senate President. Who that person will be, sa ngayon hindi ko pa ho mabanggit at hindi ko siguro alam. Tayo po isa lang po tayong voting member. Hindi nga tayo stockholder o shareholder. Ang shareholder po dyan ay ang sambayan ng Pilipino. We might just be called as a board of director, but rest assured that we will be doing our fiduciary duties to protect the rights of the shareholders, and that is the Filipino people. So, hintayin na lang po natin siguro, Sir Cito, whoever will be the next Senate President, rest assured that I will also work hard as a member of the chamber to uphold the independence of the chamber and to contribute day in and day out to whatever positions would uplift the plight of the ordinary Filipino.
Yeah, forgive me for asking, but I am under duress dito na itanong sa inyo, in whose camp do you belong ba daw? Kasi hindi ka nila mabasa sa newsroom. Kanino ka bang grupo kasama, Mr. Senator?
I belong to the camp of the Filipino people. That will be sure.
Okay, last question. At the end of the day, what will decide who becomes Senate President? aside from numbers, siyempre grupo-grupo yan, but there must be one, one driving characteristic or credential that all of you will want from the next Senate President.
We need a leader who can be effective and efficient. 23 voices probably is hard to play down. 23 voices is hard to hurdle, unify in one room. But we need a leader, and that leader should not just think of the position himself, but think of the Senate and think of the Filipinos. So siguro po yun yung kailangan. Yung isang leader na magiging simbolo ng pagkakaisa ng Senado at simbolo ng Senado bilang isang sagisag ng isang malayang Pilipino.
Okay, well, napakagaling mo talagang sumagot, sir. Kung pansabong ka, hindi ka tatamaan. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Senator Tolentino.
Thank you for this opportunity. God bless us all.
God bless you too, sir. Okay, that's Senator Francis Tolentino, and I can relate to the way he has answered because it is so unpredictable as to who will finally become the next Senate President. But nonetheless, I'm happy to report that as far as those who are in the Senate, that agenda has been working with, like Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Francis Tolentino, and the outgoing Senate President Tito Soto, and Dick Gordon. We are happy to report that at least these individuals have been cooperating with us, informing us and showing us that the Senate is composed of people who also have the interests of the public in mind. Okay, let's go for a quick break. And when we return, Usapang Pera, Finances, Financial Literacy with our next guest, Rose Fausto, fellow columnist at the Philippine Star, here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, thanking you for joining us this morning. And on part 2 of Agenda, let's now talk about financial literacy with one of our columnists on finance in Philippine Star. And she is also considered as a expert in terms of raising children and raising them with financial literacy. We have with us Rose Fres Fausto. Rose, good morning. Welcome back to the program.
Thank you for having me back. Good morning, Cito. Good morning to all our viewers.
Okay, Rose, I know that we have prepared a list of topics to discuss, but right now, just as insight, what is the what is the current concern or topic of interest to most Filipinos when it comes to finances?
They always say, walang pera, di ba? Sa mga Ilocano nga, awanti kwarta. That's always what they learn how to say first. Having or not having money, a lot of people think that it's about the sweldo. It is also about the sweldo, but you know what they say nga, it's not how much you make, but also more of how much you can keep. Ang ganda nga yung usapan nyo kanina sa SSS eh. Alam mo, nasusundan ko rin kasi yan eh, yung SSS na talagang kulang sa pondo. And it's the same thing because the contributions are not enough. So, bakit ka? Paano ka aasa na meron tayo, halimbawa pag magre-retire na tayo, may makukuha tayo kung hindi sapat yung isinusubi natin regularly. So it's the same basic law of money na to pay yourself first.
But is that correct, Rose? Yung laging statement na awanti kwalta or hirap, walang pera, walang pagkunan ng pera, is that always the case? I mean, generally, yes, economists will say the Filipinos are not making enough, etc. Pero I've discovered that a lot of people don't pay attention to what they really have and just go on automatic. Kumbaga parang nagiging automatic response na lang kahit may pera. Sasabihin, walang pera eh. Ay, hindi, mahina ang kinita. In fact, I remember a particular case. One of my participants in a Bible study I was leading, every week, lagi na lang ganun, ang hirap ng pera, ang baba ng kita. And then I said, guys, I'm getting sick and tired of you moaning and groaning. Will you please go back to your accountants and do an audit, first quarter audit and find out what's really there? They all came back and said, Kuya, meron pala kaming kinikita. Maganda naman pala ang income stream namin. Eh bakit kaya puro ganyan? Wala, nasanay na lang kami. Is that the case with many Filipinos na nasanay na lang sabing walang pera kahit na meron naman?
Tama. Hindi lang nga yan, it's not exclusive to us Filipinos, no? Pero siguro mas matindi sa atin kasi nga nasa third world status pa rin tayo hanggang ngayon. But it's really about the mindset, no? And I like that you said something about parang automatic na lang na gano'n yung pakiramdam, di ba? Kasi when it comes to money, Cito, napaka-emotional kasi nito eh. And that's what I would always discuss. Ayoko nga to limit it to financial literacy kasi no matter how great the financial literacy, the financial lessons you teach to the students, nilagay na sa curriculum, pero kung yung mindset mo at saka yung environment mo hindi naman tugma para gawin mo yung tama, walang mangyayari. And that's what I really discuss in FQ Book 2. Dito kasi sa pag-iisip natin, meron tayong parang two parts of our brain. Meron yung sinasabi natin na rational brain, tinawag ko sa libro ito na makatwirang mak. Ito, pag tinuruan tayo ng, dapat ganito pala yung pagse-save. Oops, hindi yan yung libro. Yung FQ Book 2, yung pinag-uusapan natin ngayon. Pero, meron tayong emotional brain. Ito yung mabilis. Ito yung ating emotional emong side na kung halimbawa nakakita ka ng sale, agad-agad mong bibili niyan. Kasi yun yung parang napaka-impulse mo eh. So para bang no matter how great you have learned, bawa may natutunan ka sa pag-uusap natin ngayon, kung hindi mo naman ito isinagawa, walang mangyayari. So I think that's where we are, most of us right now, no? Kulang ang education, dapat ayusin din ang environment.
Okay, so what do we do now? Where do we go from here? Because people have this mentality, wala akong pera, ang hirap gumawa ng pera, etc. What are the next steps? Because that seems to be the concern now that everything is opening up. Grabe, tama yung example mo yung sale. Kaliwat kanan ng sale. Ngayon, people are going out to the malls na finally nakakalabas na. And sabi ko, this is the most dangerous time when people go out and start justifying and telling themselves, hindi ako nakapag-shopping ng 2 years, hindi ako nakapag-biyahe ng 2 years, kakain ako to death, etc.
Revenge spending and revenge travel is what may be happening to us right now. Unang-una, yung sinabi mo na kanina, no, talagang tignan natin yung sabi mo, I'm getting sick of you whining about not having money. Tignan nyo, how much do you really have? And then, figure out how much do you really want to have. Saan mo ba gusto, no? Para ito ka ngayon, saan mo gustong pumunta. Tapos, alalahanin mo na kahit na alam mo na, pero pag nandyan na si tukso, mahirap mo nang sabihin sa kanya na layuan mo ako. And that is why I am very big on really checking out and designing your environment na para mas madali mong gagawin yung tama. Like, let's give an example.
Okay.
Di ba, nung araw, bago tayo makabili ng isang bagay, dapat nasa atin na yung cash para bilhin yung bagay na yon. And then, credit card was invented. So we didn't really have to have the cash, but at least we had to dress up and go to the establishment before we could buy, di ba? Pero ngayon, hindi na eh. Buksan mo ang telepono mo, nandun na, 24/7, nakapajama ka, kahit nasaan ka, kahit nasa banyo ka, pwede ka nang mamili. So what is that environment causing you? How does it cause you to behave? For sure, a lot of us nandun sa cellphone nila, nandun kaagad yung app. Kung kayo po ay hindi nyo kaya talagang i-resist ang temptation, tapos yung mga notifications na kaliwat kanan dyan that there is a sale, para hindi kayo ma-FOMO, delete it. It's so easy naman to put it back kung talagang kailangan kayong may bibilhin online. So yung mga ganong mga example na ganon, ito yung tinatawag namin Cito na choice architecture.
Yeah, you mentioned that. You mentioned that in our first conversation.
So ang ganda niyan kasi pwede rin nating ibigay na halimbawa yung mga magulang, ano, paano nyo ba palalakihin yung mga anak nyo? Kung gusto nyo silang kumain ng mga masusustansyang pagkain lang, anong gagawin nyo? Huwag kayong bumili ng junk food. So you just make the good choices available to your children. And what works for your children will also work for you. So sa inyong mga nasa kapaligiran nyo, ano ba yung mga tamang choices na nandyan dapat? At unang-una dyan talaga dapat, i-automate nyo po ang inyong saving and investing para hindi na kayo mauunahan ni tukso para saan nyo na naman ilalagay yung sweldo nyo.
Well, as they say, teach your children the way he should or she should go, and they will not wander. So kung bata pa lang tinuturuan mo na, you must always give 10% to the Lord, you must always save 20% of your money, and before you want to buy something, delay gratification so that you don't regret na pag nakuha mo na, I don't like it, never mind, I want something new, parang ganon. Now, you keep talking about si tukso, ano? Pero meron akong napapansin lately, I've noticed this, the other side of the Filipinos, one deals with temptation, the other deals with guilt. Kumbaga, parang they feel guilty about spending on certain things or doing certain things. Kasi like, I'll use myself as an example na, no? I have a 25-year-old or baka 30-year-old air conditioner. And for the longest time, I've been saying, dapat palitan na natin nga, ang lakas sa kuryente, until finally, I guess the Lord spoke to me and said, you're going to save money by changing that. You've always wanted to do that, but you keep saying it's expensive. How can I bless you if you keep feeling guilty about it? And I think it works for many. It happens to many Filipinos. Have you observed this, that marami naman sa atin, on one hand, parang nagigilty ba?
Yes. Yes, ang ganda na sinabi mo yan, ano? Kasi yan yung kabaliktaran naman, ano? Nagigilty tayo to spend on something. Ito yung solusyon namin, Janet. Sa mga FQ workshop, financial quotient po ang ibig sabihin ng FQ. Unang-una namin ginagawa, yung iintindihin mo kung ano yung relationship mo with money. And that really entails you going down your childhood money memory. And then next is to really find out, articulate, establish your core values. Alam mo yon, yung mga prinsipyo na pinanghahawakan mo, these are the values in life that you really are willing to sacrifice for, even to die for. Ngayon, kung na-establish mo yung mga values in life mo, at maganda nga ito, pinag-uusapan din as a family maa-align mo ngayon yung paggamit mo ng pera. So, yun dun sa sinasabi mo kanina na kung minsan nagigilty tayo to spend for ourselves. Dapat i-connect natin, ito bang purchase na to, especially if it is substantial, will it help me fulfill my core values? So yung tipong ganon. So in your case siguro, kung halimbawa, ikaw talaga siguro, I think you are frugality is really a value for you, di ba? Na para bang ayaw mo na, sabi mo nun yung asawa mo matindi pa sa Ilocana, ayaw na ayaw mong pagsasabihan ka na, ayaw ka na naman, gastos. So if that is something that you really hold dear to you as a value, then you will now be able to understand, okay, itong purchase ko ng bagong aircon, what is it going to do? It will actually help me be frugal in the future. So parang alam mo yon, nako-connect mo siya, nawawala ngayon yung guilt.
Kasi bumili ako ng anong tawag nila dito? Kalimutan ko na yung technology ng klaseng aircon
Oo, alam ko yan
Inverter.
Inverter. Matipid sa kuryente.
Aircon. And sabi ng mga technician, sir, magpalit ka na para makatipid ka ng kuryente. But aside from pagtitipid po mga kaibigan, when you are in a hot room, it is so hard to work. Ako, nagsusulat ako, bigla na lang akong aantukin. O kaya wala kang gana kasi ang samaan, ang alinsangan. So it makes you more productive and I'd like to think it makes you happier. So parang ang nangyayari because of guilt, we deprive ourselves and end up spending continuing. Para kang bumili ng kondo. Sabi mo, bibili ako sarili kong unit. Pagkatapos, bayad ka naman ng bayad ng annual, ng membership dues, ng maintenance. Di ganun din, para ka rin umupa.
Oo. So mahalaga yon para matanggal po natin yung guilt na yan. We have to be very aware of what our values are. Para pag sasabihin mo, okay, gastos to na malaki, okay lang ba to? But if it goes against your values, hindi pwede. Kasi yun nga yung kasabihan This is one of my own favorite quotes. No, when you don't know kasi your values, ito yung pinaka-compass mo But if what you do with and for money does not align with your core values, no amount of money in this world po will make you happy. So, importante talaga yon. Itong pera is just a tool. It is not the end in itself.
Okay, now having said those two things, si tukso and si guilt, how do we teach children about this? Kasi, you can tell children all what you want to tell them, but at the end of the day, what they will do is what they see.
Correct. And that is so true when it comes to teaching about money values, money behavior. It is better caught than taught. So, syempre, ano ngayon yung unang-una? Alam mo, ang ginawa namin, ma-share ko lang, nung napanganak yung aming mga anak, pinagbukas na namin sila ng kanya-kanyang bank account. Tapos doon na namin nilagay yung kanilang mga pera na mga regalo, mga angpaw. And then when they started asking about money, we had something to show them na. Tapos, when they started going to school, kami grade 1 kami nag-start magbigay ng allowance. There are two schools of thought here. Yung iba, nagbibigay ng allowance, which is what we did. Yung iba, they want their children to earn their allowance. It's just that when I look back at my childhood, I figured out that my early allowance, as early as kindergarten nga ako Tapos kahit hindi pa uso nung araw yung binibigay na on a weekly basis, binigay ng mom ko on a weekly basis, bahala kayo na i-budget yan. That worked for me. And so I thought, if it worked for me, then it can work for my children. Pero ito na, Cito. Pina-apply na namin kaagad yung first basic law of money, which is to pay yourself first. At the start pa lang of the week, Sunday night namin binibigay yun Mababa lang ang mga allowance ng anak ko, pero minimum of 20% siniset aside na nila. So alam mo, nakasanayan nila yan. Hanggang ngayon, malalaki na po ang aking mga anak. And I'm very happy that they are doing even more than 20% na minimum requirement naming mag-asawa sa kanila noon. Yung mga ganon, pag makikita naman nila na, oh, it works and my parents are actually doing it, then it is easier for them to do it.
Okay, now, what about spending money? Because I can sense na baka tiger mom ka eh.
Oo, dragon. Kasi you're of the dragon ako.
Dragon mom. Okay, so pareho kayo ng anak ko, dragon child. Now, what about the spending part? Because yes, we're teaching our children to save money. And you teach that from childhood, from infancy,
Yes.
maglagay na ng pera, etc., etc. But, you know, spending is like breathing. It will happen whether you like it or not. How do we teach our children how to be wise or smart spenders?
Okay. Gusto ko magbigay ng kwento para siguro mas magmarka sa mga nanonood ngayon. Ito yung kwento ng panganay kong anak. Nung first job niya, nagkagulatan sila nung nag-uusap sila. Sabi nila, ha? You're already investing and you just started working. Tapos siya naman, nagulat siya sa kanila. Ha? You've been working for so many years and you haven't even started saving. Tapos ang naisip niya, kasi pag minsan, pag naggagastos daw sila, they would eat out, sasabihin nila, oh, I'm so guilty, I haven't started saving yet. So this is what he said. You know what? If you just automate that you take out at least 20% of your income, then you can spend the rest guiltlessly. So yun na po yung magiging guiltless YOLO nyo. Ginamitan nyo ngayon ng design. Ano ba yung design? Natanggal na yung mga kailangan kong tanggalin. So kung ano tong natira na to na 80% o 70%, I can now spend it guiltlessly. At mas masarap gumastos kung hindi mo na iniisip-isip na, I'm so magastos, I haven't started saving. So I think that is one very, very basic thing that you can do now. You automate your saving and investing so that you can spend the rest guiltlessly. And when you spend, as what Cito and I just discussed earlier, you try to use your values as your compass. Para naman yung mga pinagkakagastusan mo, natutulungan ka talaga to fulfill your values in life.
Okay. Now, some of my friends medyo napapakamot, no? When because you mentioned YOLO, you only live once. And I think COVID taught many of us that it's good to save money, it's good to have businesses, it's good to have savings, but YOLO, you only live once, and just make sure that on your last day on the planet, you don't go saying, what did I save all that money for and did not spend some of it on myself? What are your views on like for with people who are now saying, I need to take care of my parang ako naman. yun yung famous line eh. Ako naman, lagi na lang kayo. Ako naman.
Oo, alam mo yung mga Pinoy parents, masyadong pusong mamon yan eh. Give all you can, di ba? Nawawala tuloy yung retirement. All right. So first things first, we have to acknowledge that it's really difficult to do this planning kasi nobody really knows kung kailan tayo mamamatay, hindi ba? We don't know the end eh. Ano ba, mamamatay ba ako at 60, 70, 80? Baka mag-100 ka. And then, hindi mo pa alam kung ano yung magiging gastos mo sa end. Anong klaseng sakit? Baka naman 1 million a month na yung abutin ng sakit mo, no? So, it is always better to be on the safer side na may pasobra. Anyway, kung may sobra, happy ang mga anak mo na mag-i-inherit nung mana mo. Now, we do that.
Naku, wait a minute, Rose. Yung mag-i-inherit, ako, sasabihan ko na po ang viewers natin. If you have stuff that you're going to leave behind, money, property, while you are alive, split it up, give it, bless them, and tell them, there, I've done my part. Naku, kasi alam mo, my wife and always, kasi she's a foreigner, she's saying, I keep hearing all of these tragic stories about inheritance. In Europe, what they do is they essentially sell everything and spread the money, and the parents just put money for their retirement. Bahala kayo sa buhay nyo, and there's less drama.
Mm-hmm. So I also believe in that. We call that giving with a warm hand than a cold one, di ba? So kung medyo sigurado na kayo na kaya nyo naman spare yung some parts of your asset, then do so. Pero konti lang yung may ganyan eh. Kadamihan sa atin, parang sakto lang. In fact, hindi nga natin alam. Kaya what you can do, you have to figure it out. Meron kang living will. Meron ka ng will na nakalagay na doon how you would want to divide your assets. And you know what? When you raise your children to be really comfortable talking about money, sa amin kasi very casual yan eh. So they would say, when you go, and hindi kami na-offend, when you go, who will get this? May mga ganon silang tanong eh. Kahit na mga simpleng baul sa bahay, mga ganyan. So kung pag-uusapan natin ng ano yan, openly, healthily, mas mapapadali when our time comes.
Okay.
Tapos,
Rose,
i-warn nyo sila. Sabihin nyo, I will turn in my grave kung mag-aaway kayo.
Okay. Anyway, we'll run out of time, so I want you to tackle yung mga myths. Kasi,
sige.
but I'm sure I will be inviting you back if you don't mind. Kasi, it is a subject matter that really concerns so many Filipinos, and maybe in our next interview you can tell us how to make money kasi yun ang problema. Anyway, yung mga myths muna, yung mga maling akala regarding finances and children.
Sige, alam mo, in FQ Book 1, I devote one whole chapter. So myth number 1, parents who don't know how much about money cannot teach their children and raise them to have high FQ. Hindi po totoo yan. You are still the best teacher to your children about money. Kasi as what Cito and I said, it is better caught than taught. So kung hindi kayo comfortable, sabay kayong to grow yourselves into high FQ individuals. So yan yung unang myth. Number 2, one has to be a math genius to have a high FQ. Hindi po totoo yan. All you need to know are the 4 basic functions of mathematics. Kasi kung hindi nyo nga memorize yung multiplication table nyo, di gamitan nyo na cellphone. And then number 3, raising children to have high FQ is more difficult among the poor. Hindi rin totoo. Nasa patiniwala at sa mindset. In fact, pag poor ka, meron ka ng proper setup eh. Obligado kayo to be frugal, di ba? And to conserve your resources. Ano pa? Kabila naman, raising children to have high FQ daw is more difficult among the rich. Kasi magiging jeprox, laki sa layaw, pero hindi rin. In fact, what you can do to your advantage is to use what you already know about making money and impart them in your children. Tapos yung 5, exposing our children to money early will make them materialistic. Ay nako, hindi rin totoo yan. Parang, how can you not expose them to money? Parang oxygen natin yan, di ba, Cito? No?
Actually, that's interesting, Rose, kasi most of the people who grew up deprived, yung kapos o pinagkaitan, nung lumaki, when they became adults, they tended to become materialistic. Those who, those who grew up na normal lang na issue pinag-uusapan ng pera, it was not such a big thing eh. Parang pag-iinom. Children who are, kept away from all of this stuff, they tend to be more curious because it's a mystery to them. It's a temptation to them. But napansin ko lang kasi pagdating sa pera or sa ari-arian, pag deprived, yun yung nagkakaroon ng revenge engagement.
Revenge spending din yan. Para kung ano yung mga hindi ko nakuha ng bata ko, sigurado ko. So the exposure should be a healthy one. Parang dapat yung exposure nyo, that money is really just a tool. And then we have the last two myths.
Okay.
Yung having a lot of money is not good for the family. Ayan, yung sinabi mo kanina, yung pag-aawayan yung money, ano? Hindi eh. Whether you have money or you don't have money, pinag-aawayan pa rin yan kung hindi maganda ang relationship ng mga magkakapatid, mga magpipinsan tungkol sa pera. And the last one, ito. There are personality types that cannot become rich. Nako! Hindi totoo yan. Ngayon, di ba, may maraming nagsasabi yan, ay, ako naman yung taong hindi talaga ako yayaman kasi, di ba, may mga root causes yan. Number one, ayaw mo to set yourself for failure. Nasyashay kang sabihin na gusto ko yumaman and then you won't become mayaman. 'Di ba? Yan yung mga underlying. Pero kung talagang ayaw mong yumaman, okay lang basta wag kang mang-memorization ng ibang tao kung maubusan ka ng pera.
Okay. Rose Fausto, as always, Rose Fres Fausto, you are sharing so much learning and you're giving us good insights. We hope to have you back on the program, and like I said, maybe next time, paghandaan mo na kami na ang tatanong namin sa'yo, paano ba gumawa ng pera? The secret and the obvious. Thank you very much, Rose.
Oy, ikaw din ha. I-guest din kita sa Kumu show ko.
Okay.
Okay, sige. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.
Okay, that's Rose Fres Fausto, and you can catch her on philstar.com, online, and of course on Facebook. Now for the week's blessing, please consider this. When some things go wrong, take a moment to be thankful for the many things that are going right. Yesterday, I was reminded of this when so many things went wrong, but then I was reminded that, well, okay, things are going wrong, but there are problems and challenges that I can now spend time solving. So I realized it was really all about attitude. So I went about the whole day fixing all the things that are going wrong. And when I reached the evening, I had a nice meal, went to bed, slept like a baby. Okay, thank you very much. And that's today's agenda. Please join us tomorrow, God willing, and please keep it here on One News PH. Thank you. God bless all of you.